unprecedented news. A ruling has overturned Senegal's AFCON win a few months ago.
What happens to the bets?
Exactly. What happened to the bets? And have actually awarded the title to Morocco. Morocco were beaten 1-0, as we know, by Senegal in January in a match littered with controversy and chaos. The Confederation of African Football Appeal Board has ruled that Senegal has been stripped of their title for walking off the pitch in protest at Morocco being awarded a late penalty. The statement released by AFCON reads as follows. And I quote, the Senegal national team is declared to have forfeited the final match of the Africa Cup of Nations, with the result of the match being recorded as 3-0. Now, to tell us a little bit more on what's going on here, let's bring an African football expert, Alistair Howarth. Alistair,
morning.
Very good morning to you. Please tell us what is going on.
It's a lot to get into, and it's a bit confusing, isn't it? So, I'll cast your mind back to that fateful night in January when Senegal won, and the kind of controversy stems from this moment, which you mentioned, when the players walked off for 17 minutes after what they felt there had been some extremely unjust refereeing decisions called by the referee in favor of Morocco. But that kind of sentiment of the Senegalese feeling this injustice goes far beyond that. It went far, before the start of the, not just the final, but the semi-final, the quarterfinal. The Senegalese Federation felt like the players hadn't been treated well by the Moroccan Federation. They had to change hotels. They had to change training facilities. They said they weren't given enough security or tickets by the Moroccan Federation. So there was this sense of real kind of injustice coming into the final. And then the Senegalese players walk off when they were denied a goal, which they felt was a clear goal. And then Morocco were given a penalty in the last minute, which was a controversial penalty. And so now, we've come 2 months later. The CAF disciplinary board initially ruled that Senegal's win was valid. They handed out some fines and suspensions, but they said that the actual win was Senegal's. But the CAF appeals board, which Morocco then went to and contested with, has turned on that and said, actually, because the Senegalese players walked off the pitch, that is in contravention of Article 82 in CAF's rule book. And so they have to forfeit the match. And so Morocco are now the African champions.
Will there be any, I'm assuming, Alistair, there'll be a right of appeal?
Yes. So there isn't a right of appeal with CAF. Now Senegal have to go to CAS, the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland, which they've already put out a statement saying that they will. They're kind of very strongly wanting to defend this. And you can see that from their former federation president and current CAF executive committee member, Augustin Senghor, coming out and saying that this is a sham, and that they are the rightful winners. We've seen some of the players posting. Moussa Niakhaté, the former Nottingham Forest centre back, posted on his Instagram saying, "Come and get my medal," with a picture of him and his gold medal. So they will fight for this, absolutely.
Now, what about European clubs then? Is it possible, Alistair, because of this nonsense, that they could say, we're not releasing our players?
I think it's unlikely. I think because FIFA are the ones that ultimately compel European clubs to release their players, and FIFA and CAF are very close. CAF have worked very closely with FIFA, and many people have accused Patrice Motsepe, the president of CAF, of being Gianni Infantino's puppet. So it's unlikely that to happen specifically. But what it does do is it gives a lot more credence to these clubs that want to put pressure on their own players to go, and it's done a lot of damage, particularly for CAF, because, I mentioned that there was this kind of lack of trust between Senegal and Morocco heading into the final. A lot of that really stems from poor organization from CAF. There was a few smaller controversies in the build-up to the final, the late release of referees and who's appointed to certain matches, and the fact that they changed referees after nations had complained about them. And this real strong sense that CAF has lost trust with most of the continent has really grown, and they've lost a lot of credibility, and this has just gone further and further towards that. And so it puts CAF in a very difficult position, and particularly the president, Patrice Motsepe.
Alistair, I've got to ask you as well, while I've got you on, you're talking about one or two incidents in the tournament. The one that probably the most bizarre one of the lot I can remember was the infamous towel incident where the Moroccan ball boys were trying to steal or hide the towels of the Senegalese goalkeeper. I mean, that in itself was quite amusing. This is obviously far more serious, but the one thing we can't argue about, I mean, it's not a good look for the tournament or AFCON or CAF as a whole, is it?
Absolutely not. I mean, I remember in the finals being sat there, and we were kind of focused on all what was happening on the side when the Senegalese fans were trying to get onto the pitch and the chaos there. And then I remember looking over and seeing hang on, is that a Senegalese player running away from some ball boys? And it was Yvan Diouf, their backup goalkeeper, running away from the ball boys who were trying to grab the towel off him, which, yeah, was certainly not a good look. And again, that's the issue of all of this is there was a strong sense that for particularly those who aren't in the African continent, the ones that, for instance, this CAF organizing body has really put a big emphasis on pleasing. That's been their thing, is we want to go out for the diaspora. We want to grow the game across, Europe and America and all these different markets. That is where it's a real bad look. That's the strong sense of this is an embarrassment for the competition. Look, a lot of Africans will actually look at what Senegal did and say, actually, that wasn't a mistake. That wasn't an embarrassment. They're very proud of what Senegal did. They can hold their heads up high. That's what a lot of people feel. It felt like they were standing up to the injustice of CAF and Morocco. But particularly from the outside, from the kind of bigger, wider structures, it's a terrible look, and it really undermines both the competition and the organisers.
Quick word, where's that accent from?
It's a confused accent. I'm from Dunblane originally, but I grew up abroad in Kenya, so my accent's a bit funny.
I could sense it in Blaine. I knew it wasn't a Glasgow.
You didn't know it was Dunblane.
I knew it wasn't a Glasgow or Edinburgh. Alistair, brilliant, mate. Thanks very much.
You.
I knew it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.